Hi, everybody. How y'all doing tonight? So I just want to come on really quickly and talk about some stuff that's been going down in these federal streets. Okay. So I have been in government for about, I don't know, 14, 15 years, something like that, almost 15. And I have to tell you, it's as much as we talk about engagement and valuing the employee and all this stuff, I noticed that when we talk about those things, we don't really include leaders, right? When leaders do stuff in the organization, it's all about, okay, we're going to be back here leading and y'all go do that other stuff. This is my vision, this is the plan, this is how I want you to do it. So it doesn't apply to me. I don't need to go to the course. Like, I don't need to participate in the programs and all that. That's for y'all, okay? Because I'm here to take care of y'all. And the people back here are taking care of me, making sure my pay is right, making sure I get all my travel done and all that stuff, right? So there's a very clear line of demarcation. So when you say that engagement is low or something, normally you're talking about the employees. You're not talking about the decision makers and the leaders and all that, right? Nothing really happens top down. And I don't know. And when I say that, I mean, when it comes to the human stuff, okay, we're talking about humans now. I'm not talking about GS levels or titles or anything like that. I'm talking about all the human beings in the organization. That's what I'm talking about. When it comes to that, there are some that seem to be excluded from it, and it seems to be directed at the other ones. So what I've noticed and am noticing, and I had a conversation with a leader that I'm with right now a couple weeks ago, where we were talking about engagement, and I was like, listen, it's there for me. Now, I say what I say the way that I say it. Okay. Political savvy is, it's always my lowest score when I take the 360 assessments and stuff, right? Because I'm not very interested in beating around the bush. Okay. I know that that's required sometimes, like times, for various reasons. You have to be able to manipulate things in a certain way to get, to get what you want. Okay. I'm not very good at that. It's not like I can't do it, but I'd rather not. Let me just say it like that. I'd rather not. So I was very candid in this conversation. I'm like, look, I am, so Marcus Buckingham has these 8 statements about engagement. And I was like, it was no. For me, it was all of them. It was no. It was a no for me, And, I just had to be completely honest about that. And like, listen, I said very explicitly, if I'm going to be here, I need help. I don't know how, like, the culture is such that the culture is hard to figure out. Like, I don't know. It's not explicitly said when this is the culture of this organization. It's never been said in any organization that I've been in. Now you have, the values on pieces of paper, right? But you really see the values of the organizations, what people do, right? That's what we talked about in another video. What is culture really? Culture is what the hell you do. How are you navigating this thing? What is communication like? I don't care what's on the piece of paper, because that's what you want it to be, right? That's what you want the values of the organization to be. What are they actually, right? And that's where we live. Okay, that's the world. That's why when it comes to creating training and learning experiences and designing these things, I'm actually giving a presentation on this next week called Reality Petticoat. right? We design stuff by fantasy. We design it based on the way things should be. Okay, we don't design it in reality. We just don't. And especially when it comes to leadership training and designing things for leaders. Okay, at least people with the title leader. Let me say that. Designing things for people with the title of leader. You know, we're all in some fantasy world or something, you know, when it comes to that, because it's not real, right? Because what you're designing for is the ideal. We don't take into consideration what's actually happening, because we don't do that kind of work, right? We don't do that work in the beginning for the most part. And listen, I know what I'm talking about, because I've been to these things and I've helped participate in creating trainings for these people. All right. So I know exactly what I'm talking about. All right. We need to get back to the people who designed this stuff, first get back to reality. Because let me tell you, I said this in something that I did before, just in case you didn't know, training is categorized the same way as leave. If you look at OMB documents, that's Office of Management and Budget, and I'm talking a lot about the federal government because that's where I work. I'm not speaking of any organization or whatever, but this is the way it is. It's public documents. You can go look at this shit yourself, okay? Training and learning, I mean, anything that has to do with training, development, education, whatever the hell you want to call it, is considered unproductive work hours. That's how they define it. Unproductive work hours. That's why you leave work to go to training. That's why you do that, because it's unproductive work hours, right? You have to get away from what's real. You have to get away from the stuff that's important. You have to get away from the stuff that's actually valuable. You have to get away from things that are helping the organization to go to training. That's what you have to do. And they have defined it for us. For those who design learning experiences and evaluate these experiences, learning has been defined for us by someone else. We're not the ones defining it. And that's actually what I'm talking next week. We have to get back to reality. The learning designers and evaluators have to get back to reality and find out for ourselves what is learning really. I know what it's not. It's not unproductive work hours. That's what it's not. Okay, so what is it? Now, I've written about this stuff and all those things. If you're part of my LinkedIn, you can go and look at that stuff. But my point here is that when we look, and this is about engagement. So when we look at engagement and the things that we're doing for organizations relative to engagement, we need to really tell the truth about what's going on so that we can then design something in reality that's grounded in not what's on the piece of paper, not what we want it to be. Okay, because that's not going to get anywhere. That's not going to get anywhere. Okay, we're not designing for titles. Okay, we're not designing for GS levels. We're designing for human beings that are trying to navigate a certain environment so they can live, and get to the next level and mature and all that, right? That's what we're designing for. We're designing for people. Okay, and I think we've gotten away from that, right? We feel like, we're designing for automatons who all think the same. They're like robots. It's like machining. All I got to get in, program some stuff, and boom, you're done. All I got to do is get up in front of you with some pretty PowerPoint slides, do a few activities, and boom, you got it, or you should get it. Well, let's do some, let's evaluate the transfer, and that's a whole nother story I'm not going to go into. But We have to leaders need to be engaged too, and they're not. They're not. Many of them are not. I'm working with some leaders now, and I have worked with leaders who clearly do not share the goal of the organization. They don't. So what's happened in an organization, or at least what should happen in a business, what can happen, is that someone has come up with a vision. Okay. So let's say it's a business. Forget about federal stuff. Someone has come up with a vision. They want to be able to various goals they have for this business. See something occurring, in that vision that they have for this business. They can't do everything. They can't do everything. For those who some of us need help. So what you do is, it's all about trust and delegation. You trust people, you trust technology, you trust groups, you trust all these, and you delegate to them these things to do. So now they're collaborators in helping you to reach that goal and helping you to achieve your vision. Okay. All of these they're called collaborators, at least the humans, are called collaborators because they're sharing in your goal, and they're saying, okay, I have a vision too, but your goal aligns with what I envision for myself and for my life and for, whatever. You business that's hired me, you're now a collaborator to help me reach my vision. So we're all sharing, right? We're all sharing in goals. So we're all working toward doing that thing. Okay. This stuff is now, know what your goal is. I'm just there to get a paycheck. That's a totally different attitude than someone who really shares in the goal of the organization. And the way you design learning for those two separate attitudes is different. It's absolutely different. For somebody who goes to an engagement training, who's already just there just to get a pick, and one who really believes in the vision and stuff, probably they won't even need to be in that training, okay? Because they'll know, they'll be learners, that they will be learners, and they'll feel when something is off, and they'll just work to make it better. They'll work to get grounded again, to reach equilibrium in. But some of them, the environment is such that, I just, I'm no longer sharing in your vision. Like wherever you're going, or I've already, I've, collaborated with you enough to help me get to the next step, which means I have to leave, or I have to, I need a promotion now, or whatever the case may be. Some kind of movement has to happen. But I mean, we should, right? That's what we do. We move, we grow, we mature, we do different things. Okay. So we have to get back to the basics. And reality is really simple, right? You don't got to go to school for any of that stuff. It's really, really simple to design our learning based in, you guys look up reality pedagogy. It's in reality. Things are, and I'm working on some side stuff right now where I'm using that philosophy, and it just makes sense. It's not even a philosophy. It just makes sense. It's the same kind of environment that babies and children learn in. It's based in reality. That now they become delusional and stuff. We start filling our heads with craziness. In the beginning, and I talk a little bit about this in my book, Longing to Learn. You're just learning, and you're excited about that. You're exploring that. And I've already said in other videos, nobody needs you. Nobody needs you to design any kind of learning experience or whatever. People, we do that naturally. We do that naturally. And it just depends on, when you put other things into the mix, like social, cultural, and economic capital, and norms and all, that's a whole nother story. But when it comes to just plain old learning, we need to get back to the basics, and really grounded in reality. There's a book, and I'm going to share it here, but there's a guy who really, and he has a really good graphic that shows that, right? Where he shows how reality and experience is down here, and we're sitting on, it's like water, right? We're standing on top of assumptions and theory and beliefs, right? Where reality and experience is right down here. So it's about getting back. I call it getting back to the good, right? Coming down and designing your learning experience here in reality. Okay. That looks totally different. It looks totally different than a lot of the stuff that we get out here now. It just does. All right. That's all I'm going to say about that today. I hope this video works, right? Because my video it's been working. And I think it's because I've been letting my kids play games on here. So they're going to have to get out. Now I got to call Geek Squad to fix this stuff, but we're going to make it work. All right. Thank you all for listening. I'll talk to you again later. Bye.